I'm Thomas, and today you join me with this, the 2025 KGM Actyon Action, depending where you are in the world. And this may be unfamiliar to you if you're unfamiliar with cars in the car market. This is the first product from the KG group. KG bought over SsangYong a couple of years ago, and now this is their first full product called KGM for KG Mobility, and it's the Actyon. Now, it's a C-segment plus car, so it rivals things like your Volkswagen Tiguan, Nissan Qashqai, Kia Sportage, and being South Korean, it does have some Kia elements to it, but they're not associated in any way. Now, I really like the front end of this car. It's really unique, and it's modern, it's chunky, it's got these little grab handles up the top. I like the daytime running light that welcomes you when you unlock the car, as well as your main beaming that are all down here. Now, there is a lot of black plastic around the vehicle, and this car is fully equipped as the only option. They'll only give you the top of the spec, top of the range, all the bells and whistles in the Actyon here in the UK. So what you get is things like your 360 camera, which we can see up front here on the front bumper, as well on the wing mirrors, radar cruise down below, 20-inch alloy wheels, as you can see, which are diamond cut. And not only that, KGM have put really good rubber on these. These are Michelin Primacy tyres. So you know you're in for a good thing when you've got good rubber on your cars from the factory. That really surprised me when I seen these. Take it as equivalent if you're not super familiar with tyres, if you maybe know the red bottom shoes or a particular logo print on a luxury handbag, something like that. That is equivalent here for the tyres. Now, round the side of the car, you can see we've got the black gloss trim going along the door. And what they've done at the top here is put this silver trim running along from the A-pillar to the C to kind of lower the roofline, because it is quite a tall vehicle, as you can see here with the black roof rails, which do have little bits you can mount something like a bike rack or whatever it may be up there. You're going to notice this little black dot here. This car does have keyless entry and exit, so you can go in, touch that to unlock and lock the car. Now let me show you the rear of the car, because you might see some inspiration from other vehicles where KGM have taken inspiration from. Now you join me at the rear of the car. As you can see, there's a couple of things to mention here. One is this C-pillar. This has given me some British inspirational design. You can comment below what you think of the car made in the rear, especially this kind of bit of the black trim, sleek tail light that says Actyon in the back, and this KGM badge on the boot is the main logo that's on the vehicles. None in the front, none in the side fenders, out with the wheels. That is the main KGM badge. Now in the rear of the car, I think overall it's quite handsome. No visible exhaust pipes, even though it is a petrol car. And we do have your main things like your indicators and lights in here, as well as your lights going across, and your brake light up the top with the long spoiler, and the fin blade up here for your radio. Overall, a very sleek design, and I think KGM have done 10 out of 10 in terms of design language for the rear of the car. Now, again, being top spec, stroke the only spec, this does have a kick operated sensor to open the boot. And you've got 668 litres of boot space inside here, which is pretty much class. It's completely huge in comparison to other vehicles in the segment. And what I do like is the sides are not covered in like a fabric. Now, having had a dog in the past, dog hair can get stuck in that fabric and it can be a nightmare for somebody that likes to keep their car clean. At least with this, you can wipe it down if it gets dirty, whatever it may be. We also have a 60-40 split, as well as a parcel shelf, which does a decent job of hiding your belongings, and you can store that away if you want to maximise cargo capacity. As I mentioned, you can have that 60-40, and it gives you a relatively flat floor for loading items in and out. But yeah, the main thing to take away is this huge boot, which is very square, cavernous, and a nice height just to load things in and slide it in. Now, it does automatically close with a touch of a button on the tailgate. Beeps and bongs are going to be a theme of the modern cars, to let you know. Now let's check out the rear seats. So let's take a look in the back of the KGM Action. So we have seating for 3 across. I really like these vibrant burgundy red seat belts, add a bit of flair. We've got Alcantara S material up top with soft leather on the rest of the seat. Now we have the red piping on the outer parts of the seat, side of the headrest there, as you can see, the red stitching. We've also got a little cup holder here in between the seats for the armrest, map pocket, phone pocket, USB-C chargers, as well as 2 climate vents there. You can also move this seat forward and back as well if you want more room or less room. I'll go in and sit behind myself. I have plenty of leg room, and I'll flip the camera around. Plenty of headroom, as you can see, a good few inches, like so. And I also like the fact we've got little blinds in the back, so you can literally slide them up and down as required. And then the door card itself here, nice blend of materials. We've got like a fibre material here, this kind of neoprene material up here, black gloss plastic and fake carbon fibre down below. Electric heated seats in the back, 2-stage, as well as an electric window. It is also worth noting that we do have this little bit here that you can clip things onto, maybe put your hanger for clothing, or maybe you can find an adapter or something to put on a tablet or something like that, just to hold it over. But they're on both of the back seats here. So we'll have a quick look at the infotainment system on the KGM. We've got the shortcut keys on the left, like things like your climate. Down there you've got your cooled seats, heated rear seats. You can open the boot, air conditioning, fan speed, change the direction of your airflow, temperature. You just tap that up and down, and then your rear defrost and front demist, etc. Up the top, circulated air. Your radio and your media really is all controlled through this. You can put your DAB or your FM radio, Bluetooth is connected through there, and then here is where you would have your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and then we can do rear sleep and muted to let occupants to rest easily, which is quite a cool feature. We also have settings in here where you can change things like the ambient lighting, which is probably the most useful one. You can go in here and change this. So if I tap that, you're going to see the colours change a little bit, which is quite nice to see. And then the last bit is your sat nav, which is powered by TomTom, and that's pretty much the main things to show you in the touchscreen here. If you swipe down, there is some shortcuts there, so you can go and turn off like the noise for the beeping for traffic recognition. Hill descent control you can turn on, defeat the start stop, change your drive modes. It does have 3 drive modes here: sport, winter and normal. Alright, we're behind the wheel of the KGM, and let's see what it's like on the open. So the ride height in this car is just near on perfect. It's not too tall, not too short, and even my parents getting in and out the car have really gelled to the height of this vehicle. It's got little black bits that are on the bumper that look like you can maybe tie, my dad thinks you could tie surfboards or fishing rods to them, but they catch your eye, and after a couple of days I've semi-got used to them, but they're quite good for positioning the width of the vehicle, because the sight lines in this car are quite good. Even without the cameras, I can kind of gauge the end of the bonnet rather well, because it is quite boxy and quite a bluff front end. So that is a pro there, and you do sit relatively tall, over other traffic, but without being super wide, which is very important in the UK in particular, because parking spaces have not increased in size with the size of the vehicle. So it is tall, it is relatively long, but it's not that wide. It does not feel much wider than my mum's Lexus IS. By comparison, when you're in the vehicle, you can kind of navigate quite easily. The 360 cameras make reversing pretty much a doddle, and I do quite like the fact you can play with that reversing camera, choose the angle you want, and if you go beside a curb, maybe you're backing into a space, whatever it may be, you've got that flexibility, or you can have it all stitched together and have the bird's eye view. So that's quite good camera wise. Tech wise, it's not too distracting. You can turn things off. You just swipe down at the top of the screen and you can turn off some of the binging and bonging, which if you did own one of these, just create a driver profile and that will save some of that. So every time you come in, you just really have to hit one button and it will sort that out. I have noticed with the start stop that it does cut out things like your seats and your aircon when it cuts the engine off, which is something that you would need to get used to, or just have the start stop defeated if you own this vehicle. Now, power comes from that 1.5 litre petrol engine. It's the sole option here in the UK, and it produces about 160 161 brake horsepower and 200 pound-feet of torque. And the CO2, because it's not hybridised or electrified in any way, is just under 200 grams per kilometre. I believe it's 194 grams per kilometre of CO2 to be exact, which is pretty high. If KGM do claim 33 miles to a gallon, I am sufficiently in between 29 and 30 to a gallon with my time with this car in mixed driving. So I guess if you were taking it a very gentle motorway cruise, you could probably get the 33. And you're turning in, being front wheel drive, it's kind of what you expect. It's pretty average for a front wheel drive crossover. Turning in, the body roll's not too bad. When I say average, that is a positive thing. It's not excelling in like the best in class, but it's not poor. It's just right bang in the middle of what you'd expect from a car like this. The automatic gearbox does an alright job of slushing together the gears. Just a nice, calm family commute vehicle. I think it could just do everything you ask for it, and it's a nice place to sit, be. And the driving experience is pretty bang on average what you'd expect from a front wheel drive crossover. Same thing from other manufacturers or often cars in this segment. It's compliant, it's comfortable, you know where things are on the road, you can place it quite well. It's not super comfortable because it's not got air suspension, but it's far from stiff or being uncomfortable, especially considering some of the products I drove the other week. I think this is quite a nice place to be. Like I'd say probably a solid 6.5 out of 10 in terms of comfort on the road and overall. I'm singing its praises here because I'm quite impressed by this car. Now, one last thing I wanted to touch on in the driving experience is the cabin quietness. It is a fairly quiet place to be. You only really hear the engine under acceleration from, let's say, 0 to 15, and after that it's pretty muted and you're quite isolated away from the road. I'm very impressed with what KGM have done here with the cabin again, because in my head I was comparing this to other South Korean products, and I would say it's a little bit quieter than them just for day-to-day living, which is a positive, and that was a takeaway that surprised me the most for this car. Now I want to say thank you very much to KGM UK for loaning this vehicle for today's video. Special thanks to John and his team for dropping off and looking after the car park, the ASMW, and I will make sure to post some pictures on Instagram so you can follow me on Instagram and other social media. I'll leave all that information below, and comment your thoughts on the KGM Actyon. Is it something you would buy? Do you like the look of it? It definitely turns heads and gets people wondering what is that car.